Hey everybody, this is Dr. Joe Martin with the Warrior Mindset Podcast. As you all know, people have seen some of our podcasts before. Basically, the idea is what makes everyone tick? What is that warrior mindset that each one of our guests has as they come on and we just kind of have a casual conversation, on how their life has unfolded for them. Over the years in my life, I've been able to travel all over the world, meet cool different people. One of the coolest cats, I got Ralphy Ortega here with me today. We've known each other probably about 18 years. About 18 years now. Yeah, he was a young buck, and now he's getting older. I'm getting like a fossil right now. Yeah. Wiser. So hey, listen, I'm gonna squeeze over, give you a good handshake, bro. I'm really happy to have you on here, Ralphie. We're just gonna get into the meat and potatoes, on you, sure. And just kind of tell our audience, like you said, 18 years. We were gonna go through a lot of this in about an hour. Where you came from, like you grew up in Clovis, right?
Clovis, California.
Clovis?
Yes, Clovis, California.
Yeah, Clovis, Fresno, it's all connected. Then you kind of started off, you were Clovis East.
Clovis East graduate.
Where did you go to elementary school and all that type of stuff?
Oh, Clovis, yeah, Marymount Elementary. Then Clovis East wasn't made yet, so they made, it was Clark. I went to Clark immediately at that time.
And then, Clovis East, were you one of the first graduates there?
First graduate class, 03.
Oh, no way.
2003.
03, jeez.
The foundations of the place, for sure.
The foundations, yeah.
For the opportunity, for sure.
You left some markings there, didn't you?
Hopefully good, and not bad, but we'll see later on.
We'll see, yeah. But, just give the audience just a little bit of background on yourself, family life, starting off as a little kid and things like that.
All right. Well, first I want to say thank you for the opportunity, Doc.
Oh, man, my pleasure.
I'm grateful to be here and mostly to still be your friend after 18 years. It's a privilege,
thanks.
brother. You see me grow up. You see me in my lowest maybe in that time and go on from there.
But that's what we're all about today, man, because there's going to be people out there, I will guarantee you, in the time that we've done these podcasts, there's people that come back to me and go, man, I could relate to this guy or I could relate to this girl. So, hopefully today with your story, and we've been together, a long time, that it's going to hit some people, hopefully.
That's the hope. Yeah. That's the hope, for sure.
Yeah.
So bring you up to real quick. My parents from Mexico came over at a young age. I shared this before on another podcast, but gave me me and my sisters opportunity that we would have never had in Mexico.
So you're first generation?
I'm first generation here in America, for sure. And I seen the difference growing up.
Dude, you speak Spanish too? You're fluent?
No, there's a story behind that. So
I
wondered about it. I asked my parents.
Some shit about this.
Please, yeah. So I'm the worst speaking Mexican you'll meet. I could hear it a little bit, and I could order food.
Your sister can?
And my older sister can. My little sister can.
Okay.
So I could order food too. I could go be like, hey, give me some carne asada, stuff like that. But a conversation happened, and I asked my parents, how come?
Yeah, that's a great question
I did.
to go through.
And I asked them, and what they told me was in the 90s, they just know that if you spoke Spanish, everybody assumed you were a labor worker. So you're blue collar, you're not white collar. They wanted us to be respected. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't push on us. They spoke it in the home, but they didn't speak it to us.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against them. I think they were just protecting and preventing us from some maybe harm later in the future. But unknowingly, that's kind of what's recommended now, right? Knowing Spanish, being bilingual. So it's just really upon myself to keep learning or keep listening to it. But that's what that's what my mom and dad told me, why they didn't teach this to us at the time.
They probably didn't teach you because they didn't want the kids to know what they were saying.
That's exactly what it was. I did know when I was in trouble because a lot of those words I do know now, for sure. But I'm not mad at them. I'm still I speak well. Obviously English.
What'd your folks do? Like when your mom and dad came
my dad was a mechanic.
Okay.
He's owned a auto mechanic shop for as long as I've been alive, for 30 years. My mom always helped him with the business, paperwork, stuff like that, finances.
Homebody,
definitely homebody.
3 kids.
It was home work. Yeah, she was raising us, and then my dad was at work. But because of that, there was an absence, right?
Yeah.
The father figure. And I don't know if I go into it now, but mom was the enforcer, right? And she's a Mexican woman, true Mexican woman, strong woman.
What do they say, the chanclas come off and
chanclas, you get the belt, you get the whipple snap, you get all that, brother. But
it wasn't one of those things. Wait till your dad gets home.
I heard. It's funny you say that. She would say that, and when I heard that, it was relief. Like, Dad will raise his voice, but never laid a hand on us.
Yeah,
never hit us or anything. The voice was enough. It was.
Yeah.
But mom fury was just enough to handle that out. But it wasn't. My dad would come home. He would come home, after a long day's work. Under the influence, of course, drinking a lot. And I would have to be sometimes the one to step and be like, hey, Dad, where are you? It's late. It's 10 o'clock.
Because your older sister, younger sister, right?
Older sister. 7 years from my older and 10 years from my younger.
Yeah, got you.
So it was a big disconnection. Yeah. And at some point, my mom, or my sister moved out not moved out, or hung out with her friends more. So I was at home. Hearing usually a lot of arguments, stuff like that.
Yeah. And then kind of sheltering, protecting your little sister.
Definitely. So I'm the middle child. You know how that goes. So it's almost like a lost child, if you will. I'm going to learn about this. But at the end of the day, I know they did their best. I have no resentments towards them.
Oh, no.
It just, with what I know now, I don't want to raise my family in the same, there's pros and cons. I want to give them all the pros and not the cons of it. And hopefully they build on top of that. Breaking maybe some of these generational separages or generational curses is what they are. But, some of those toxic traits, I'm trying to just break those with the next generation.
You get into these, the terminologies like children of alcoholics and things like that. Sometimes, and I'm sure you can attest to it too, because we're both, in that category of more of an alpha male, like we're going to take care of things ourselves and whatever. So when somebody gives me, oh, well, Joe, you grew up with, and like yourself, Joe, you grew up with parents, a dad that was an alcoholic. And like, I'm not using it as a freaking crutch. Yeah. You know what I mean? And neither did you. Yeah. Now, was there pitfalls which we're going to get into and things like that? Of course there were. Yeah. But, you didn't look at it like, oh, woe is me. Yeah, I'm not going to become successful because of what happened with my parents. Hell no, man. You're going to, you're going to step up and go. And so like this, that was when you were young. Did sports come right away to you?
They did. Yeah. I fell in love with sports. Kind of because it offered something I didn't have, was automatic, a brotherhood, a relationship with people, always every day talking to people. That's what built me up into it. But it took a while to get some skill and talent. That's for sure. Had to work for it.
Did you now? This guy standing up, man. He was a big boy. We've been training together for a long time, and things like that. So he's definitely got some size on him. But it came. Well, it came from blood, sweat, and tears. Like It was not genetic by any means.
No, and that's what I preach to my daughters now. The hard work. I didn't have talent. I just worked hard. Yeah. And sometimes, the hard work beat the talent, and it did. I just had to show up.
I use that example as I was always too stupid to quit.
That could be it, definitely. I know I'm a glutton for pain.
Yeah,
I know that for sure. So that's what it goes down to.
That's exactly it.
For sure.
So did you start off like elementary school? Were you football? I mean, I've known you mainly as a football guy. Right. You know what I mean? Right. But would you play other sports too? Wrestle, baseball?
Elementary school is where I found out what I was good at and wasn't. So I tried the basketball, the baseball, and all that stuff. Once I found out I was on C team, B teams, it wasn't my calling. So stuck with football. I was always A team. Football was it for me. That was it.
Yeah. With the football, a lot of times too, is like when I talk to guests along the way too. Did you wrestle at all, like elementary?
I have a funny story when I trained my kids.
Yeah.
I tried wrestling, and I didn't know anything about it, so of course I took on the WWF style. that same day, coach was like, nope, and I was like, well, if this isn't it, it's not for me. So I left. I was just
throwing the guys over your back.
No chokeholds, no suplexes. You can't do this stuff? Well, I'm out. It's not meant for me. So.
Well, probably your age, like, because your age group right now, a little, behind me, the WWE, that was big.
Oh, it was Hulk Hogan. 90s? It was Hulk Hogan. Kane. The list goes
on.
Even
The Rock was in there, too.
The Rock was there. It was top stars, WWF style, for sure.
Oh, my God. You took that to wrestling?
I did, and I found out real quick that's not wrestling. So
note to self, wrestling is not my forte.
No, it wasn't.
So it was from elementary on, football?
Football was it. Football. 5th, 6th grade, 7th, 8th, 8th grade, 9th grade, and on.
And what linebacker?
Different stage, but as I ended, it was outside linebacker. Yeah.
In high school.
In high school, outside. No, high school I was a cornerback.
High school,
DB.
No way.
Yeah, I got
so would you? So here's the thing too, is because we both have one of those little later bloomers. I was too. I got out of high school like 5'7", 155. Now I'm like after the military service, this and that, and I got up to the heaviest, maybe 205 every year for me. But like you said, it's blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah. What'd you graduate high school at?
About 5'10", 165.
5'10", 165.
but on the roster, about $185. I'm 6'1". A lot better.
Exactly. Everybody does that.
Yeah, just to pump up their roster a little bit, for sure.
It was one of those things that got out of the military, and they always, you got to get an exam, the dental exam, whatever. Right. Guy measures me 5'11" and 3/4. I'm like, bro, couldn't you just lie to me and said 6 foot? So to this day, I've never said 6 foot. And I think I'm shrinking now.
I'm going to answer my pants, dog, because I relate too much. I tell my daughters this, and my daughters don't let me down because my daughter, Leilani's getting super tall.
Yeah.
And she reminds me. So same instance, I'm at San Jose SaberCats tryout.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there, and they have this clipboard. And as I stand here, I'm like confident, 6 foot. I know I'm 6 foot because I was at least 6 foot. I don't know what happened. But I get up there, takes off socks and shoes, hits me, he goes, looks over, 5'11", 3/4. I look at him, dude, really? I walk off. That day, my pride has definitely hurt. Yeah. I realized with cleats, I'm 6 foot, and shoes 6 foot. Yeah. But I'm 5'11", 3/4, brother. Same feeling.
So I still do in the old guy category, the physique contest. So many people have heard it. So the last show I did, the guy said 5'10" and 3/4. I freaking lost an inch. You're getting freaking old, bro.
What happened?
You're getting too much squatting or something like that.
Yeah, it's all the weight. It's the load. It's the load.
We're going to use that as the excuse.
It's the load, brother.
But so when you get out of high school, and also too is like, your dad stayed in the picture, throughout your elementary, high school. But was the alcohol still prevalent? Yeah,
definitely. That's just the Mexican culture. Yeah. It's the culture. It's you work hard, you play hard. You party, you stay up all night, drink, and whatever party favors they choose to have. It was just a normal environment to me. Yeah. I didn't see nothing wrong with it.
I was the Irish Catholic guy. My dad, definitely drank. He was definitely a good provider, very low middle class. We didn't have a lot of money. But, I think once you get older, as like if you're, say, for example, where you're at, you got younger kids still and you still kind of like, maybe you not anymore because your life has changed. We're going to continue to go into that. Mm-hmm. But, it's that activity of like, let's go out with the boys. We're on a summer softball team. After the softball game or rugby, we're going to go to the bars and go hang out. And then you got to get poured into your house by your wife. And, those are those days when my dad was younger. But then he got older. The boys, they were raising families. Yeah. But then it became drinking at home. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Alone.
Yeah, alone. And that's where, you learn as a kid too. That I put in, like you probably did too. I just put it into the fitness.
Definitely, I mean? Some of that anger, frustration, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing what it does in the household, it becomes normalcy. You're numb to it, so it's not like a big it's dangerous. It's like it's around already.
There'll be the yelling and screaming and this and normal. That, and you just go on your day as a kid. As long as they're not yelling at you.
I have a perfect instinct. Yeah, as long as I'm not in trouble, that's good.
Bro,
but when I'm in trouble, the world stops. Yeah. But a good little instance. This is part of the whole story. But at 12 years old, having alcohol poisoning.
You yourself.
Yes. So, maybe a 10, 11, 12-year-old trying beer for the first time, but who gets alcohol poisoning?
Or the idea is, I remember as a kid too, you'd be walking by and, Dad, can I have a sip of your beer? Yeah. And you go, yeah, okay. Because, and actually in Europe, it's like that. You go to, because I've been to Italy and in my military service and then civilian wise too, is there's always wine on the table. Mm-hmm. So, ironically, if it's there, okay, I'm not talking about hard drugs. But if it's there, it doesn't become one of those things that is like this unicorn, right? So the unicorn is, mom and dad, they're drinking that, gin and tonic, the Heinekens or the Budweiser, Schaefer beer in New York. I don't even know if they have that stuff anymore. You know what I mean? But and you walk by and your dad would be like, yeah, sure, take a sip, and then half the time you're like, yeah, that stuff's crappy. Or
gross.
Gin and tonic with your mom's like, go ahead, you're not going to like it.
Yep.
Gin and tonic, you're like spitting it out and whatever. But then it became normalcy to where you're not thinking about it. Now, did we all get those days? Yours was a little earlier than mine. I think probably not the poisoning, but I think my sister, drugged me up my driveway. Maybe not too far, bro. I think I was maybe 14. She was 15, and that first like throwing up.
Yeah.
Nonstop. Not knowing what's going on. Yeah. And I woke up the next morning for 7:30 mass. The Irish Catholic, my mom was like, oh, really? We're going to do it that way. So you're going to church. And ironically, most of the times, you guys had this too. It's like, on the East Coast, when I was growing up, we didn't have the Friday night games. We had Saturday day games. Oh. You know what I mean? But then Saturday day games, and then it's all of a sudden later afternoon, and then the boys are all getting together, bonfires. Right. And this is the East Coast, more country style bonfires. Everybody's back then. The parents would put on freaking keggers. The parents.
Wow.
And the parents go, if you come into the house, put your keys in a basket, and they'll make sure somehow you get home. Yeah. And everybody always got home okay.
And I had friends of parents that did that for us too.
Yeah. So nowadays, gosh, damn. But the idea is, my mom was like, oh, really? Okay. Oh, so, really? Yeah, you're going to mass. And I swear to you, I couldn't tell you how many of your boys are at church the same damn day. And they're all just still probably still drunk.
Same thing, right?
You know what I mean? But you learned. It's like, that's probably not a good idea.
Well, you said that, and I don't know, we must have been split at birth, though.
Yeah.
Because when that incident, when I got alcohol poisoning, I woke up the next day to my dad looking over me like, you want to drink like a hard man? Or you want to drink like a man? You got to go to work the next day like a man.
Oh, same thing. I went to church
straight up
miserable, and yours is worse.
So the thing about it is this, though. As a kid, I justified it. So what you're saying is, if I could handle this, I could do it.
Yeah.
I'm running off.
Yeah.
I got this. Later on, though. Not right now.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson today. I'm not going to drink for today.
But when you got older.
Later on, I was like, 14, 15, older.
Yeah.
Not long. And I was already smoking weed by 12. I started at a young age with the overindulgence, for sure.
See, my yeah. So I was in high school. See, I was in the late 70s, bro.
That was just the lifestyle.
Hey, dude, it was like, I remember guys, I swear to you, man, the guys on the soccer team, I didn't play football. I was too small for football, but I was a good soccer player. My goalie would be stoned before every game. And the guy was like all league. No, it's like what? Like what?
Some people just function like that.
Yeah,
they just work well like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just like, not me. And it's like, you'd come home and, like I'm blessed. My kids are awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome kids. And not nearly like their dad. Now I'm
God.
blessed, because we come out of it. We learned some lessons. I got out of high school. I think my saving grace, and I was a good kid, but the military really did that for me. This 6 years in, I was blessed to, have gone through SEAL team, spend 6 years in the military with that. But I think in your case, where do you think, and believe me, when you're in the military, you drinking and you're carrying on, of course, like that, but not like I was going down maybe a road, maybe less traveled. You know what I mean? Right. If I had stayed home and not gone into the military, I think to myself, don't really know, but don't have a crystal ball. But like when you started hitting that, like 16, 17, were you playing football like that way too?
Yeah. Well, no. So it wasn't as intense. I would say it was far and little, like occasional at that time. 15, 16. More of smoking weed than drinking at that time too. It wasn't until like 18 I ran off with alcohol. But yeah, 15, 16, you're smoking weed after practice, whatever the case may be, after games.
Maybe going to a party after the game.
Little get together. And like, again, I would not drop names in this scenario, but we'd go to some parents' houses and they would just, like you said, take the keys, you ain't know nowhere, you just party here. And their thing was, I'd rather you're going to do it somewhere. I'd rather be here safe.
100% agree.
Right?
And I'm saying that's right or wrong.
Oh, yeah.
It's not right or wrong, but it is safe.
They try to make it safe.
I know, like, how many times I woke up on, my buddies' couches on the floor, things like that. And thank God, it was safe. And the parents that do have that foresight that they're going to, know that, their son or their daughter is going to be at somewhere else or at their house. Parents would be like, listen, we know shit's going to go on. Obviously not going to be alcohol, but you can smell it out in the backyard, in the pool. At least, and they're all going to crash on the the benches and whatever. And
I'm sure they saved some of our lives for sure. Because we were hot, hot-headed and dumb. So no doubt about it. Unknowingly though, there's always a cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
So later on I could share my story, but as you know, it just came down to, sounds like, all the time, well, it's okay if I can handle it. Parents even are okay if I can handle it, right? Yeah. And,
so you get done through high school, and obviously you played really well, but you weren't a very big guy, were you? No. So any opportunities for college?
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. So, being in new school. Yeah, no, I need that because I need structure. I need timeline. Thank you, man. Keep me online. But I was, obviously we're a new group of guys, from Clark. Got this band together. I had a very talented team. For myself and the DBs we weren't big, fast guys. Yeah. And in that realm is big and fast. I'm talking about, I have buddies who played Edison, Central, Buchanan, even Clovis West. These guys were studs. We didn't have that extra work on the outside the field. What we got was there at practice. And that was
a new school and everything.
It was a new school. Everything was new. Very undersized. But we did make, and this is kind of big to me, it was called the Clovis article. I forgot what it's called. Clovis... Clovis paper.
Roundup?
Independent. Clovis Independent. It was a while back. And we made that, and it just said in there a little spiel like, hey, keep your head on swivel. These guys will pop you in your mouth. Yeah. And we took pride in that. We were hard hitters. Later on, Clovis West took advantage of that, and they won a championship because of it. Or playoffs to knock us out. But because we were so aggressive. So we took pride in the lifting weights and hitting hard. That's what we did. And we had decent coverage, but it was a one coverage, cover three, which is a back off zone, safety, two corners. I mean, it couldn't be no simpler than that. So our coaches,
but you knew angles. I mean, if you're playing like that, angles. You don't have to be that fast. People think, you got to be so fast. Well, if you get burnt, you better be fast.
You angle, definitely better be quick, or you just can watch them catch the ball and score a touchdown on you.
Exactly,
that sucks
too.
I've been there.
If you know angles, and a good friend of ours played years, Cameron Worrell.
Yes,
we'll try to get him on here one of these days.
Yeah, definitely.
But Cameron used to tell me that all the time. He goes, "You don't have to be fast if you know the angle."
You're absolutely right. Angle saved my life for sure. Angle saved my life. That was the biggest thing, and that's where those pursuit drills they had in. You hit the deck and you run at the angle, and it saved us a few times.
Yeah.
But as far as like those man-on-man coverages, that stuff was pretty tough. We tried, but the coaches knew their personnel very well and how to use us, and thank God for that. You know? He had some hardworking kids that were willing to do what was asked, and that's just what we did.
So going into a school, and I've heard this over the years. Different people I've talked to just in life as a doctor, patient-wise. Being that first graduate in class, that was kind of tough because you're the first freshmen, the first sophomores, your football years, like as a freshman, are you varsity?
So no. So freshman year we played with freshmen like JV teams.
Oh, check.
But as soon as sophomore year came around,
Varsity. So you guys played varsity. Everybody played varsity as a sophomore.
Yeah, and we were playing
way smaller.
Definitely way smaller. Playing teams. I'm talking about teams that had giants like Clovis West already had. I don't know if you remember Brandon Hancock at that time.
Yeah.
And we seen this guy and we're like, at this passing tournament, but we're going against varsity guys, seniors and juniors. But that fortified us. That made us. That made us because we came in we won the Valley Championship. Well, we went to Valley Championship our junior year, but we lost to Bakersfield, Liberty Bakersfield. Liberty Bakersfield, which later on we found out they had some ineligible guys.
Yeah.
We should be handed the
They
crown.
were third-year college students.
I'm just going to say we can't be handed the crown now. It'll be okay. But anyways, we still made it far, even our senior year. And we went to Federal State camps. We were well prepared. We were well prepared because of that.
Do you still talk to some of those boys?
Some of them.
It's hard over the years.
Well, that and
20 years now, right?
And honestly, some have lost their lives to.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
To the struggle and battle.
Yeah.
So there's a short few, and when there is, we try to stay in touch and just say hi where we can. Thank goodness for social media. That's how we see each other the most.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody does nowadays. Yeah.
But that was my band of brothers.
So when you graduated high school, did you think about college bound for ball?
So because I didn't get no offers, back to that question you said to get anything happen. I didn't get no offers. I just knew another route was City College and then see what happened from there. So I walked on. Well, I redshirted my 05 year at Fresno City College. I had to get a lot more stuff in order than thinking I could just play. Yeah. And then 06, that was 04. I redshirted 04 and then 05 I played with Fresno City College. Mm-hmm. Coach Cavilla, great coach.
Oh yeah, still there, man.
Still there,
guys. Still there.
I love what he does there.
So, did you play 2 years there?
I played 1 year. I'll give this quick spiel.
Yeah.
I went in, again, same thing. Ralph was always that tweener. Have you heard that term, a tweener? I was too slow for safety, but I was fast for linebacker, and I was in between size. So coach asked me, hey, will you play linebacker? And my biggest thing is this with sports. I never wanted to be let my ego be too pride to shut down opportunity.
No way.
So I was like, as long as I'm just the guy, like, I just want to be on a team, coach.
Yeah.
So I was on the team, because the roster was coming out after spring ball if you made the team. And he said, hey, you want to play linebacker outside? I said, sure. He's like, you got to work your way in. You're about fifth guy. I said, no problem. I'm used to working.
It's either that or don't play.
Yeah, and it was don't play, right? And I love football. I love everything it offers. And I knew my mindset was I'm going to have to work for this. So I was behind a few guys, but number one guy was Zach Dials. Zach Dials went on to play Kansas State. I love this guy. He's still a friend of mine to this day, doing great things. Then Kansas State, played for the Houston Texans, stuff like that. He was, this guy has two tree stumps for his legs, solid rock, sets edges, everything. I looked up to him. And there was a few guys in front of that. I put my nose down, started working, and by the second week into it, I was second string, outside linebacker.
No way.
And Coach D. Michelli, shout out Coach D. Michelli, still love him. His son still coached too. He helped me get to that position. What they taught there and everything, I trusted it. So I was behind Zach Dallas. I learned a lot sitting behind him.
Yeah, because so then second year you're done because you can't eligibility. Then did you go to?
So
we're gonna
continue that real quick. Yeah, I'll continue with that real quick. First year that happened, that was my first year playing. Second year, Ralph thought I could just do what I want, with school and everything.
Third person.
Yeah, gosh, great idea. And I tell kids all the time, just look at the word student athlete. It's all about that first word. The second word's going to take care of itself. You need to be a student first. Work hard at that. That's where it's at for me, and I needed to. But coach calls me in before this spring ball. He's like, hey, Ralph, you do well. We could have something set up for you. I was like surprised. All right.
Next 2 years.
Yeah, next 2 years. Even D3, D2, whatever. I'm just grateful to go somewhere. And the spring ball, because Ralphie didn't go to no class. Ralphie didn't take care of his grades. Ralphie was smoking weed and slap dicking off. You know how that is.
Ralph.
I know. Really good at that for some reason. But he calls me in the office and the spring ball was like, hey, you're ineligible. And that hurt. That hurt because identity, right?
And a lot of times you don't think about that.
No.
And when it's coming, you're playing ball, you think you're the athlete. Yeah. Everything's going to work out for itself. And I've seen that. Obviously, I'm in a sports injury type of facility, gym on the other side of the wall and things like that. And it's more common than you think it is.
Well, and you know what? Yeah. Coaches do their best to get you in that position, but we still got to do the work. Yeah. And some of us have that high talent, and they're given the work, because they're who they are, and some do fall off because of that too. Me, I didn't take it serious, and I was ineligible. And I remember him that day. I went to his office, and he told me, heartbroken. Who am I now?
Deflated.
Everything. My whole being is for football right now.
So let me ask you a question. Those couple of years that you were with City, and this is a thing, I think with my son, I'm there. My dad was really not involved and that much. And, I would ride my bike to baseball practice, ride my bike to soccer practice, walking home, whatever the case may be. Provided, but really wasn't that guy behind you to support you. And your dad's working, he's a mechanic. was he able to go to much of the games or things like that to kind of help you? Or
I love this question.
Yeah.
This is why I am today. Why I am who I am today for my daughters. Again, respectfully, I think my dad worked so much he didn't have time, couldn't do it. Mom, encouraged from the home, but nothing else. So my parents really didn't go to any college or many high school games. Wasn't the guy throwing. I never probably played catch with my ball. I played catch with my dad or none of that. So I would say he did give me all the tools. Right, I got a vehicle. I was able to get to school, stuff like that.
Mechanic.
Yeah. I had a few of those vehicles to get there. As far as the at-home work and support, it wasn't none of that for sure.
So it's funny, just we're talking to the camera now. This is interesting type of thing, because I had the same thing with my dad. But then I told myself, now your kids are younger than mine.
Right.
But I told myself when I was young, like you said, all respect for my dad, things like that. But, his life was different and things like that. He'd come home from work and he'd just do his own thing. Didn't really participate in the reindeer games. And, go to the games and whatever. And a lot of times, too, he'd maybe try a little bit. My dad played little college basketball, back in the day, back in New York. And but if he didn't shoot the basketball the way he said or swung the bat the way he said, then he wouldn't then spend any time with you. But as a parent, you can't do that. You got. And what I did was I made sure that my son got and my daughters got whatever they needed. And I was, for argument's sake, this is a Joeism, I was there 100% of the time. Now, my 100% is probably about 90. You miss one here and there. But I was there. I was at the practices. Financially, I worked to make the money to pay for that. But I think those are big things. And we'll kind of get this in as far as talking about life is concerned, where when we get into what's going on with the society and men in general. And we'll talk about this later on after your history. But like you didn't get that. That's what I was thinking. Well, was your dad at the games? Was your dad going, yo, bro, you're going to be ineligible if you don't get the grades? Because I was on Connor, not on his ass, but how are we doing with the grades? What's your GPA? I got da-da-da. I got this. I got that. Okay, you good? Okay, great. Hey, listen, I'm driving you to baseball practice. Listen, we got batting practice. I mean, every fielding practice and batting practice, and your daughter's playing softball. I'm there. I was there every time. I don't think I missed one baseball game that he ever played unless he traveled to, like, the Bay Area. And even I went to Ohlone, which is in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. And even my daughter, who was a cheerleader, last year of high school cheerleading, I went to every single football game to watch her cheer. Now, it's not, yes, it's a sport. If anybody out there wants to know, cheerleading is a sport.
It is a sport. Definitely, I agree.
But why would I would give her the opportunity to go, well, you're at all Connor's baseball games. How come you didn't come to the football games?
Right.
Oh, you're just a cheerleader. Oh my God, that would kill her.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm taking video pictures of her, and she's probably embarrassed as hell, but she will remember that her dad was always there.
Absolutely.
And then you didn't get that, and I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, could I have gone a little bit further? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm not crying over either you.
Right. That's a good question. But what you said is you gave your son accountability, right? Having some kind of sort of accountability. Because your friends don't care. We're kids. We don't care about accountability for each other.
No.
If you're there at school, hey, you go to practice, cool.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking about grades. No. Nobody's asking about school. That's like taboo. Like,
your boys? No.
Nobody to ask them. Yeah. So I'm sure there would have been a positive influence somewhere if somebody would have been on my butt a little bit more or encouraging to go to practice and stuff like that. But it was more, I made a promise to myself. I want to get better at this, and I know I could do it. So I was like my biggest cheerleader really at that time.
So when you got that wide opening, experience in the eyes wide open to the extent of to where the coach goes, hey man, you're ineligible. Crush it in a way. So then because we'll go into that, how'd you get over to Europe?
That's a great story. God. Yeah. Shout out God. Yeah. Jesus Christ, man. I got to say that first because I'm not where I am today by God's grace.
Yeah.
So
me either.
After that happened, this goes into my whole story, but after that happened, I went straight home. I couldn't yell at nobody. I couldn't be mad at nothing because it's me. Right? I had to own up to this. I went home, and my parents, again, don't care much. So I went straight to my bed, and I cried on my bed for 3 or 4 hours straight.
And they're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And he'll be fine.
And I don't want to share. You don't share. You don't talk about your feelings. You don't share personal things in a home like that. So I was like, "Oh, I could take care of something." Crying my eyes out on the bed. What am I going to do with my future? First thing that came to my mind, though, unfortunately, was I got to start making a real life here. I got to make money. It's not even a life. I got to make money. How do I make money? Well, who were the friends I hung out with growing up? And they weren't the best influences. So I knew a good way to make money was the way of selling stuff on the streets.
Yeah.
That's what I went to. And fortunately, I made a lot of money that way. So I was doing that for maybe a year or two. But then that passion, that red runs deep. I can't run from football. That was something that was in me. And so I heard of a semi-pro team local here in Clovis.
Oh.
Somebody would tell me about it.
Dude,
go ahead.
What was the name of the team again?
Clovis Wolves at that time.
That's
Clovis
it.
Wolves. So
yes,
it's funny because my buddy Dean Merrill, shout out Dean Merrill, I love you, brother.
Oh, matter of fact, we got to get Dean on.
Definitely got to get Dean.
Yeah, that dude's got some stories too.
Firefighter for the military, all that.
Yeah,
right? Love him. So he would hit me up a few times.
You guys same year?
Not City. He didn't go to City College.
No, but did he play?
He played with Clovis East with me. We went to elementary school together.
Same age?
Same age and all.
Same age. Oh,
yeah.
man.
He's a brother for sure.
Oh, dude, man. I love that dude.
That's us too. It was always us two, rock and roll and AP
now,
too.
You know what? He's a guy that supports his kid like nobody's business. And his son, a monster.
Beast.
He's going to.
Maddox Merrill. Watch out for Maddox Merrill, yo.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation with that family.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that dude.
And even Lily, his daughter Lily too. She's a little beast.
Yeah.
But it's Dean's really, he shows those kids how to handle business. Mm-hmm. But Dean hit me up, and I wasn't really talking to him very much at that time. I was around the
couple years out of school.
Definitely out of school, trying to find my own way with my dudes and him too. He would tell me about this semi-pro, and ego Ralph would be like, "Nah, bro, it's like I'm too big for that. But when everything came down to it, I just wanted to play football game for something. Mm-hmm. So I had another buddy of mine. I talked him into going out there with me. His name was Xavier Gladney. Good dude too, stud. So we went out there to Clovis Wolves practice.
Ever meet him?
No, you never met him. No, he lives in Madera now.
Oh, okay.
But I've had an opportunity to train him on my videos and stuff. You might be able to see him. Big dude. But I was like, let's go try this out. Went to a practice and it was cool. And I got to give a lot of credit to the coaches, past coaches, everything they taught me and I listened to it because when we got out there, it was freaking, it was on. We were balling, killing it. And of course, because the confidence is there, hey, I want to play. So we joined the team in 2007. Mind you, this team, Clovis Wolves, Dean played with them before, but they were on losing streaks. I mean, 0-10 seasons and stuff like that. When me and my buddy X came over, we won a championship there, Valley Championship. In 2007, Clovis Wolves beat the Fresno Pirates, who were a solid team. And mind you, some of these guys that play on these teams are guys that fell through the cracks. Fell through the cracks, bad grades, bad decisions, whatever the case may be. Ballers. Yeah. And they still have the passion.
Well, it's like that analogy, right? You got the guys like, I grew up in New York, and then they have in New York City. My dad used to tell me the stories in the Bronx, right? They got the basketball courts are caged in and things like that. That you can go out to those courts at any given day, and they're 10 times better than any NFL, NBA player.
You're right.
Maybe not but really, really good.
Because these guys are driven by passion.
Right, and they got into trouble. They didn't go to college. They were in jail or things like that. But when they get back onto the court, oh my God! Like they've done the documentaries on those guys.
There's a lot of. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
There's a lot of gratitude in those guys because they had to work for it. And it means a little bit more for them versus the ones that got it given to them or worked for it also. But everything. What drives them is money versus the love of the game.
So these semi-pro teams are the same thing.
Yeah.
And well, obviously from there you got looked at.
Yeah, so we won that season. It was an amazing season. Played another season after that. Didn't go so well, but we still played it out. So this is 2008. And 2009, a team named Crusaders. Jeff King, graduated Clovis High. Some people I know him on your listeners, but old school guy. Jeff King started a team out here, Central Cal Crusaders, with a few coaches on there. Played 2 seasons there. By that second season, one of the coaches that knew something for Jeff King contacted from Germany about me. There's a few other players he contacted. Yeah. But I always give those instances where some of those guys' egos were like, I'm too big for Germany football. So for me, that was huge because I'm just lucky to play football again after after the whole thing with school and everything. So of course I said yes. Went over, had an opportunity to play in Germany for football, and I did. And also too, they still have that league over there now. They still have it, yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of the people may not know this, but they think if you can't make it in the U.S., that there's no place to play for you. Now, football is a lot less than baseball. Baseball is a lot bigger. Soccer is a lot bigger. You can play in other countries, especially you can make a ton of money in Mexico. Right. You go to Australia, there's a huge baseball league there. Japan, obviously. Yeah. But basketball is another one too. Yeah. But Germany's probably the biggest out of the United States, right?
For sure. And plus, I know also Europe in general, Italy for basketball, right? That's like a big deal. Yeah. It's almost like farm league, G leagues type stuff. They help get your fundamentals, everything back.
And do you think now it's better that it's more widespread? Would say the NFL we'll call them the G League over in pretty good G League over in Germany.
The G League in Germany, I like it. I like it.
Joke.
I like it.
But is that we call those? My kids will call it the freaking dad joke.
Dad jokes.
You know what I mean? But
Love those.
do you think Germany has had guys, like I don't really keep up with as much.
I'm sure. I mean, I
more
don't.
so now than it was back when you were in, because we're talking 15 years ago.
Yeah, 'cause look at what we have now, exposure wise, social media. Your stuff could get out there way easier. A highlight film could be uploaded in seconds versus what it was before. So I'm sure there is more opportunities. I'm sure there's some guys that went.
Did you play 2, 3
years?
Yeah.
I played one season there.
Just one?
Well, and then
Could you?
life happened.
Your dude, bro.
I could have played, but I had my wife at the time, my girlfriend, pregnant, and I had the other mother of my child pregnant. Ralph was busy in a month, 2 weeks apart. My daughter's 2 weeks apart. So when my season was over, I had to give it to real life. I had to handle business.
So do you still feel, before we go into the relationships aspect, do you feel that once you got done there, even though it was only a year, you're like, I can close that chapter? I mean, you wish maybe you played more, but
I was content with it for sure. With that part, I built a lot of great relationships. Met a lot of amazing people, and kind of it's funny. I might know the language. I might know German more than or Deutsch they call it, more than I know Spanish.
Oh, dude, you just said that on freaking camera, bro.
Sorry, this is a strong admittance I do have.
Yeah.
I can count to 10 in German. Oh, you ever heard that,
dude? I'm the weirdo. I'm the white guy, and I can count to 10 in Spanish.
Okay, so I could do to 10, but German is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I go on, but it's funny. My coach left me there, and he was like, "I got to go to my town." This is why I had to learn the language. He said, "Ralph, you're either going to eat or you're not. How are you going to talk to these people?"
Yeah.
So in the time he was with me, I should have been catching on, and I did, and I got away with knowing the greets and how to order things.
So let me ask you, on a side note, a good friend of ours, Jason.
Jason Sasoya.
Wait,
my man.
but did you meet him over there?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did.
I did.
He became a good friend of mine through Ralph. But so he was already over there as a trainer.
He was already playing football over there.
Oh, but he was playing football too.
So there's a class of guys in the 90s from Clovis High who actually went over to Germany and played football.
But he's older.
He graduated in like 91, 92.
Yeah, he was coaching?
He was playing.
He was still playing?
Oh, my man was like Tom Brady over there.
And this dude's a house.
Stud.
This dude's stud. I think he's 50 now, right?
Right. His name's on the plaque of Hall of Fame on the Clovis High thing. It's right there. Jeff King, Jason Sasoya, along with Tyler Klutz and those guys.
Yeah.
Stud guy. But I went over there and he took me under his wing because I was freaking, what do they call it? I was blue behind the gills. I was scared as heck.
And he was fluent.
I was scared. He was just handling business, just stud, and he's from Clovis.
Yeah. And
he took me under his wing and told me the ropes. And I love Jason. I appreciate him, man.
He'll be coming back this way. Oh, brother. Dude, we'll have to get him. Matter of fact, the two of you have to get him.
Oh, it's going to be a laughing stock. It's going to be crazy.
That'd be funny.
But Jason, he's going to be 50 this year. I'm 38.
Yeah.
So we are a little different years-wise, but I mean, his heart and spirit are just like a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. He's a multi-sport athlete, basketball. Yeah. He actually could have been drafted as a catcher from Clovis High.
Oh, no way.
So he was a true freshman playing quarterback at Clovis High and linebacker. Stud. He was a stud. Yeah. But I don't know if he wanted that lifestyle.
Yeah.
He went over to Germany. Everything he wanted just for fun. And so he played there. But he found a wife there, a few guys, and another guy named Fig. They called him Fig, and Mark Garza, those guys. Mark Garza, my coach. Rest in peace, Mark Garza. I love you. Thank you for the opportunity. I got to say that. He did. But they made a life out there and have wives. And they took me under their wing. Took me to their homes, stay with them, breakfast, lunch, dinner, all that good stuff for sure.
Yeah. So, so you came back. Obviously, you came back from Germany, and at the time it was your girlfriend. Now, obviously your wife.
My wife, yeah.
But well, give the audience a little bit of that, because you weren't married at the time to anybody.
No.
And you kind of had two friends.
Yes.
And you had to pick a friend.
Yes.
And was that was a. Because I knew you all during that, bro.
Yes, you did.
So it all depends on how much, you want to divulge.
I had no therapist or counselor, so I got my counselor therapist for you guys at AP.
Yeah, right.
You,
and
Dave,
we talked many
Cam.
times. Oh, yeah, man.
You guys gave me a lot of advice. So how it was, my wife, Courtney Shackelford Ortega.
Oh, my God,
I love you, babe.
Awesome.
Amazing woman. She's a real one. I mentioned it before, but I was with her. We were with each other, met each other in 2008. And about 7 years later, we moved in and out to different houses, me and her. And 7 years later, Ralph thought he had a great idea of like, I think I want a little break. I think I want a break now. And so I tell her, and she's heartbroken. So I go on this break, and at the same time, I'm not in my right mind. I'm drinking, using, but I'm still playing football. Trying to manage my life, if you will.
Yeah.
And I had this other girl I spoke to a long time before her, and so we just got back in touch. And so Ralph was trying to do this thing of how to be a player, bounce back and forth. If you ever seen the movie.
Not a football player, but just
not
a player.
Football. Have you ever seen this movie, Bill Bellamy's How to Be a Player? I've seen this movie. I was like, maybe I can manage it like that. Mind you, this is a very douchebag thing of me to do, and it was not the right thing, and I know this now. But it was a time of my life, it's experiences, and nothing's wasted in God's world, I know that, but bouncing back and forth. Before I go to Germany, I get my wife now, my girlfriend, pregnant, and same with her on the way. And I feel like, I don't know if God, this is something I could look back and I feel like this is it. God kind of took me out of that environment to really look at my life.
The football environment or
that relationships with the girls.
You just run around.
Right. I've been going crazy trying to, I'm one of my defects character, and I know this and I work on daily, is codependency. Mm-hmm. So being alone is scary. So I'm for sure I would have been just jumping on back and forth, trying to say what they wanted to hear and continue this chaos.
Also too, is we could, like, on a side note there, and because I think we all get that a little bit, but when you don't, and we're going to go through this towards the end too, because I got some comments that I want to make and answers that I want to, or opinions I want to get from you, but that wasn't heavily involved.
No.
And you get that codependency. You always need somebody around this. I didn't have. I think my son's doing way better than I am.
Right.
I was. But that's a really good point. I never really put two and two together.
Adam and Eve broke the pan for us. So there's a few defects we have, on this plane of Earth. Yeah. I'm a human having a spiritual experience. That's what. So then you realize this. You get over there, and then all of a sudden you got two ladies. Yeah. Two ladies pregnant. So I get there, and I'm talking to them each night because now these ladies are bearing both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and at this time I'm Courtney's my wife now. I'm trying to tell her, assure her that more like I will be with her, and it's too rocky with the other side, and bouncing that back and forth is stressful. And then when I get back from Germany, I have a night alone. I'm taking a drive down 41 South. It's probably like 11 at night. Done doing my rounds of trips, whatever you want to call them. And two thoughts come to my head. One is peace and one is chaos. When peace came to mind, it was Courtney. It was my wife.
Yeah.
It was. The other side was, and nothing against her. Nothing against her.
Oh, no. She's a mother of your child.
Yeah, so it's nothing against her. I have no bad blood with her. We actually co-parent very well. By the grace of God, we do.
Yeah.
We love all our daughters the same. But when I would think of the other side, just chaos and uncertainty, that's what I thought of her, and then I thought of her. So it was real clear to me.
Well, it's funny, I'll just give you an observation as the doctor. It's funny when you say that because I'm a good visualizer. I'm a good people person. I can read people just because as a doctor, the chiropractor, working on people. Right. When you and this is a shout out to Courtney because I could see when he was talking about you and you said that peace, you took this big breath. You know what I mean? And then relaxation. And then nothing against another baby mama. But then you're just talking about turmoil and stress. Yeah. The body gets a little bit tighter. The arms get a little bit tighter in through here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is great because if you can feel that, you know what I mean? And God is good. Yes. And you got an awesome wife.
Yes.
That there's that calmness.
It's home.
You know what I mean? Yeah, bro.
And she showed me some unconditional love. Now, mind you, with Soraya's mother, everything that they were at this point was because I built them up this way, right? Meaning I've said so many things to may have these thoughts, and I say this with full pain and remorse when I say
disclosure.
This. Disclosure too, but I was more of the hurter than the hurtsy. I wasn't the one getting hurt. I was hurting people. And this is part of my disease too, but a lot of bad decisions being made.
That's where the recovery is.
That's where recovery is from, for sure. It's not to this day no more. Yeah. But I don't want to point it out there that they were, she was bad or my wife bad. They were both, people just trying to get along in this world like we were, Well,
and also too is if you think about it too is as far as I know, still in this country, it's kind of hard to have two wives.
Be surprised. Some people try to do it, but yeah, it is kind of hard.
But
I would not want that.
With that being said, I could tell just from a body language that calmness is when you mention your wife's name. And nothing against the baby mama, but it's like there's just that little bit of tension, and it could have been that road that you were on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you're so blessed. You're so blessed right now.
Oh my goodness.
We'll take 2 seconds here.
But yeah, definitely my wife is my saving grace. I've got to see. She has literally shown me. Being a follower of Christ in the flesh, I can see what it looks like to have unconditional love. My wife has stuck by me through that. Through my addiction, alcoholism.
And when that comes around, it's very easy for a woman, and we're not blaming any woman if this was to happen. If Ralph all of a sudden had, I love we talk about you in the third person.
I don't do this. He does, by the
way. Is that you could have been a single guy having to raise two separate, and young women, but right now you have a good entity, a blessed, entity in your wife. and a calmness in, Sarai's mom,
Yes.
that, it can go on like that because, it could have gone, far left.
Yeah, Ralph's wheel would have had that going far, far left around the corner and down the hill. It would have been bad.
So then you make that, you come back and you make that commitment.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously, you can't go back. You got kids, 2 kids that are not too far apart.
Right.
Like
Weeks
age-wise.
apart. 2 weeks apart.
2 weeks apart.
September 24th and October 11th.
Yeah. So it's like, you got to, hit the ground running now.
Yeah.
So what did you do work-wise when you first?
So before I left to Germany, I had a security job.
Yeah.
I worked at Fresno Coin Gallery as a security officer, armed officer. It was pretty cool.
Right, yeah.
And when I got back, my boss at the time still gave me an opportunity to still get with this so I could have some income for the family. Mm-hmm. So when I got back, I did that. But I moved in with Courtney 2 weeks after I'm home. 2 weeks after home, Leilani's born. Yeah. And 2 weeks after Sarai is born. And it was kind of coming to fruition, everything that I was planning or hoping that would me staying with my wife, or now my wife, Courtney, and trying to make things right with the other one to still be able to have my daughter. And, we had our bouts for court and all that because a lot of stuff there was a lot of bad blood in between it. But we all have grown from the situation. But, I fought for my daughter and I was able to get her some time, and now we're at 50-50 co-parenting.
Because they're both, 12?
11, going to be 12. Don't tell them 12 because they're going to get real. I'm going to be 12. Hey, everything's cool up to 12 years old till I tell them, well, now since you're 12, you have some responsibilities at home.
Yeah.
So you want to grow up real fast, don't you?
Exactly. Wait till they're 13. I just got one that just graduated. Yeah, gosh, damn, amazing. I know. But so, what is your wife? What is she? She's a nurse?
So she's a vet. She's an endoscopy tech.
Okay.
Endoscopy tech at Community, right there in Fresno. Okay. She used to be a vet tech for many years. Yeah, 15 years probably. Yeah. That's what she did, and then she moved careers, and she's going into. I don't know if she wants me to say this. I'm gonna say it anyway. Yeah. But she's gonna become a school teacher. Nice. Elementary school teacher.
Tell you what, though, one of the things I tell people all the time, especially, and this is not chauvinistic in any stretch of imagination, is the fact that a lot of women, that if you can have a good teaching job, I tell people this all the time, which was really interesting, is that there's a couple that used to live down the street from me, that the husband and wife were both teachers, right? Mm-hmm. So you think about the family dynamics. Right. The dad and the mom are home at the exact same time the kid is every day. 1. 2 is, if there's vacations, mom and dad are both off on vacation. If there's a summer vacation, they're all off for argument's sake, say 3 months, whatever it is, 2 months, 3 months. What this family does, and the income is fairly decent. 2-income family with the kid, and they had 1 child, right? Talk about the time and effort you could put into that 1 child. They would leave after school was out, and they wouldn't come back till teachers, they were teachers a week or 2 early. So they come back, and they travel with the kid all over the world. So they saved the 2 incomes. Both were home every night, and they could do that. I'm a firm believer personally in the sense that if women had teaching jobs and we were to develop them and give them a good pay, and they're with their kid all the time, and the dad could then get home at a decent time, I think the circle of our family dynamics would be a lot better. So absolutely. I mean, my hats are, Courtney, congratulations. And they're hurting right now for good teachers, Bo.
They are. So I agree with you. I agree with you full of 100%. The big reason why she wanted to become a teacher is for that reason. She's at school, they're at school. When she's home, they're home. They're on summertime. Yep. That was a big motivation factor for behind it. My mother-in-law, Patricia Shackelford, I love her. She's a teacher. Mm-hmm. My wife's aunt's a teacher, and her grandpa was a educator for planes, planes. He educated for planes.
My dad was aviation. My dad taught English and Latin.
Wow.
I mean, the language has been dead for how many centuries? But it's a big foundation for medical,
right?
Medical terminology. But anyway, 35 years. My sister did 20 years and retired. My youngest brother taught about 5 years. My brother and I both taught at the chiropractic college. I taught for 6 years. So the teaching aspect is really
lineage.
Good. Mm-hmm.
A lineage of teaching.
And,
it's in you.
And like in her family, they're all there.
Same thing.
I think it's a profession personally, we can shout it out there. Women and men do not get paid enough to be teachers.
No, they don't.
Now we may go into the wokeness and all that stuff later.
Right.
But for the most part,
there are biggest influences right now in America, and they don't take care of that shit.
And I would commend your wife because that lady's squared away and she'll influence kids in a very positive way. I think in the future.
So I'm grateful for her.
But she got a degree already, right? Did you?
I'm gonna have to say she's working on it right now.
Yeah.
She's working on the degree for all
Right,
that.
because the tech is so many years, and endoscopy
So she's
tech is so many
finished
years.
with that. Yeah, she finished that.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't take too long because the tech didn't take as much like CNR nursing as long. So she got that, but she's working right now for her schooling to be a teacher.
Teaching credential.
Teaching credential, yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
And I promise, babe, I'm listening to you. When you tell me what you're getting, I just forget a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot in this brain.
Yes. Alzheimer's early. Yeah.
Football.
So it's football. Yeah, that's it. Blame it on the football. Yeah. But so you get back from from Germany and things like that, and so you're getting squared away life wise, and obviously you're in the gym all the time, and we're training and all that type of stuff. Right. Like what has been. We got into some of the drug and alcohol, even after you were married.
Right.
You know what I mean? Down a slippery slope and still partaking. It's been, how long? A year?
2 years.
2 years sober now.
2 years sober.
2 years
sober and clean.
So before we get to that, from Germany to right before you told yourself, I need to get squared away. Mm-hmm. There was about 5, 6, maybe a little bit more years of turmoil.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Probably a little more than a decade.
Maybe.
A decade of just.
And man, another shout out to Courtney, man. She's gonna get a lot of love from both of us here, man. We knew each other, and we'd be at church, see each other at church all the time. But a lot of times you'd get home and just demons would be grab and hold you.
Yeah, that disease has still had me, no matter what.
It does for the rest of your life.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It's still there.
Yeah,
and this is
agree.
why the warrior's mindset is very important because it's a daily routine that must be practiced to keep that.
And you
thing
put on that, it's almost
bay.
like that shoulder pads. You're putting on armor every day. No, because it is. It's every day. It's a challenge.
And all that I have now, and this is where you might hear the term, some people don't understand it, but grateful alcoholic or addict. So many stuff we already have in our lives that we took for granted. And then we get to take the scales from rising and you actually see it and you're just like, I've been blessed all my life. God has been with me all my life.
So where was it? So say, for example, those 10 years, you're doing a little bit of work, you're doing some training, some clients, your wife's doing her job, the kids are going to school and blah, blah, blah. But, was it you or Courtney that said, hey, bro, there's a line now we're going to cross, Either you're going to go one direction or another. She draw the line, you draw the line, relatives draw the line, friends draw the line, intervention.
Intervention.
What was it that where you said 2 years ago?
All right, well, let me bring you into this point. Because life was okay. 2016, I had a tragic thing happen to me, and I mentioned this before. My best friend / brother, Joey Palacio, passed away.
Oh, man. Love that dude.
Love Joey,
even to this day, every day.
Love you, Joey, and the whole Palacio family. I love you guys. Yeah. They took me when I was a kid at 18. Because I left home at 18. Mm-hmm. Their home had something I never seen. A lot of love, a lot of caring for each other, hugging and kissing when they left. Yeah. It was always presence. It was huge. I loved it, so I stayed there for a while. Love my brother Joey. 2016 he passed, and I would say I didn't gain enough tools to properly grieve with that situation. And I said this in another podcast, but I didn't know what to do. So what you don't know, you don't know. So what I did know was to numb out.
To party.
So smoking weed every day, obviously that's something we did, and then drinking, and then a lot of I don't know if I can say it on the podcast, but a lot of cocaine use at that time. And it got heavy, 2017. It was like, it turned into like 2017, it was like parties. 2018 was like weekends, every weekend. And then 2019, 20, COVID time, all that, it was every day.
At home.
It was every day at home.
Yeah.
Not present no more, in my garage most of the time, drinking, heavily using, ruining relationships, ruining family vacations. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I'm usually a guy that brings people together. I was definitely breaking people apart at that time. I'm not proud to say that, but this is I'm taking ownership and accountability to my actions. Well, and also
too is like, we have this podcast that we're doing, and my purpose of this podcast with that warrior mindset is that at a certain point you just took off the armor. You just said, I'm doing my own thing. Every day we need to put it on because we need to be protected. You know what I mean? And when we put on that armor and we thank God for waking up with the breath that we have, we're waking up every morning on the sunny side of the dirt. Right. You know what I mean? That when you kind of take that armor off and you just let it down, you go, you know what? Well, what happens is you get demons that get the stronghold. They're grabbing you by the ankles and they're pulling you under. You know what I mean? And that technically was Ralph's quicksand.
That was
right. And so you get that time and quicksand's in there, and you're just kind of little by little going under. So my next question to you: a couple things could happen. Is it Ralph figured it out and Ralph found a vine, somebody then threw you a line, you know, or what was it where you finally said, hey, man, I'm in this freaking quicksand of life, and this is, you know, HE double hockey sticks. You know what I mean? Who, what, when, where, how?
Yeah. So at this point, I crossed an invisible line somewhere where I went from a wanting it to needed it. I just needed to survive the using, the drinking.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to ask for help, but I was still trying to hide it and all that.
Dude, well, you come from an Hispanic, I mean, Irish
for help.
Catholics, man, and
You handle
Hispanic
it.
families, same thing. You just handle it. Yeah. There's no hugging, there's no cuddling, you know, with dads and things like that.
Yeah, so I would say this. I'm a proud member of AA. Thank God for AA and the 12 steps of AA. I've learned a lot. First one on there is my powerlessness and my life's unmanageable. So admit you're powerless and unmanageable. And it got to that point. What happened was when they take off the armor, I'm now in Ralph's will.
Yeah.
And I know now that I have to be out the way and allow God to do his will. It's thy will be done, not my own. So what happened was in 2021, people around us knew what I was doing, but I hid it from my wife and tried to hide it from my wife and my daughters. Well, one day she gets called over for a brunch, hanging out with her friends. And as soon as she leaves, you know, I'm of course like, going to do what I do. You know, I'm going to the garage. I'm going to keep doing. You guys have a good time. Yeah. She was with my daughter, Leilani. Soray's out of her house because we're 50-50, so she's out of her house. And she comes home without my daughter. And this is always a tough one. She comes home without my daughter. She's in tears. My mother-in-law pulls up. And she's crying. And I'm just like, what's up? You know? And she says, all of them had an intervention on me for you. They just told me what you've been doing. You've been doing cocaine. She's crying. She said, I'm not going to stay around for it. It's either going to be a divorce or rehab. You have an option. First reaction is lie. Oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But then she gives me all the specific examples of what they said and what happened. And I'm like.
But also, too, is I'm going to give you some props right away because I've been in this industry of healthcare for a long time, bro. And then you could still be angry. Yeah. Then it's over.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, my props out to you that you had to go, okay.
Right. I say this again.
Dude, that's a you got to give yourself props for that too, man.
I appreciate that, Doc. Yeah, it's by the grace of God. But like I said, man, if there's anything good in my life I have done or have been present to, it's my wife and my daughters. Mm-hmm. So the fact that if I'm choosing one thing over the other, it's just not who I am. I'd rather choose my family. So my wife gave me that. And at this point, mind you, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. What I have become, I'm 150 pounds. Which if you know, and you know, Doc, we're trying to bulk. Me and you are the same, same body build.
Lean guys.
Lean guys. So
trying to put on the weight.
But the disease was having me tell people, well, I'm trying to cut. And that's not the fact. I was always trying to bulk, but I was using all night, so I wouldn't go to sleep. And mind you, 150 pounds. I was sick in my head. I was already, having, seeing, hearing things. It was getting pretty bad. And even when they asked me at the intake for rehab, how many hours have you slept? I'm like 5 hours in 5 days.
Yeah, human beings. First they're saying 5 hours. Okay, that's not too bad. In 5 days.
In 5 days. Yeah. It was not good. Yeah. So like you need help now. But when she gave that option, so the first thing, and I say this because it's a very pivotal, a big pivot in my life. I'll say a big part where I turned. I went to the backyard. I'm in tears, and she comes out there like, "You okay?" And I just look up to her. I'm like, "I'm so glad I got caught. I'm so glad I got caught." Yeah. I couldn't ask for help. I didn't know how to ask for help. I'm sorry this happened, but I'm glad I was caught at that point. Mm-hmm. And she said, "Okay, we'll start looking for places for you." And
we might as well give them a shout out. You go here in town?
Casa Palmera, San Diego.
Oh, San Diego.
Del Mar, good. San Diego Del Mar. Right. I got to say that out loud with pride because I love those guys there.
And tell you what, and I've had people in my life over the years that I've helped guide into rehabilitation. Some here in town, some out of town. But I'm always a firm believer in listen. If this organization helped you get better, man, we'll give them a shout out. I'm not that Appreciate big yet, but some days people are going to notice that. Hey, listen, we're helping everybody out too. So
for sure,
I'm glad you were able to say that about.
Thank you for giving the
company
opportunity
too. Yeah.
Thank you.
How long was that?
30-day rehab.
30 day.
So Ralph was trying to let ego still step in. So in that time before I went, I was still using and drinking, heavily using.
Deny.
I was denied. I was in the river denial all day. I was floating down that thing, and I was supposed to go maybe a week later. They had a bed for me, but I was trying to find any reason not to. Of course. But in this meantime, my daughter Leilani was going through. She would have faint spells. She would stand up and faint. So we went to the doctors, and they did some checks, and they said she might have a murmur. And so this is the time of me and my disease, and she's knowing I'm going to rehab. So when looking at it now in retrospect, like looking back on it, and we've talked about it, she had a broken heart about everything that was going on.
That's a really good way to look at it.
That's
Other than that, health-wise, there was nothing.
It was a broken heart. You hear about those couples been together forever,
man.
and within a year later, they died.
Sir.
Me and my daughter have been together from the day she was born. Leilani, for sure, because I've had the opportunity to. Best friends. That girl's my best friend. I love her to death. But in that time, I was sick, and I was not being a father I could have been, and she seen this, and she experienced it, and she was hurt.
But you couldn't express it as much.
She
She's like 9 or 10 or
yeah, she was 8, 9 years, 10 years old.
Yeah.
And she couldn't express it. So this is what didn't have me go right out the gate. Later on, time came and I had to go check into the rehab. So I did. It was July 7, 27, 21. July 27, 21. That's my sobriety date.
7/7?
7/27, 21.
7/27, 21.
Yeah. And so I did 30 days there. I made amazing relationships with people. Heard some things that I never thought of myself there at rehab. That community is an amazing community, because I'm already at my lowest. Mind you, Doc, let me rewind real quick. Attempted suicide. And I would say I bailed on it. But there was this time in Lake Tahoe.
Thank God you're here.
Yes, I'm still here. So it was a failed attempt for sure. But it's just so I could bring up to speed how sick I was. We're on a family vacation in Lake Tahoe in June, a month before that. And of course, me starting fights with my wife because that's just what I do at that time.
Because you know why? Because things were good.
Right.
So many things are good.
Things are too good.
Right. So you got to make an argument up.
I had to make it. My wife was doing her best to just love on me.
She's a sweet.
I was, and mind you, the drugs and the drinking made my mind so sick where I was coming up with my own ideas and believing them and blaming her for things that were not true. So I started a fight with her that night. I go out, and this is a testimony to God. I go out to the lakefront, and I'm laying there, and I have my party supplies, drinks and drugs and smoke. And it's
party supplies.
12 a.m. on the lakefront, and I'm like this mad person just pouting, right? I'm on that beach, and I'm mad. And deep down, I'm wanting somebody to come look for me because I feel so alone. So I'm looking, there's nobody, and I fall asleep. It's like 1 a.m, Lake Tahoe, and I wake up and I see a flashlight, but I'm like, my family doesn't have a flashlight and security, so I don't want to be found by security because I got all this stuff. I'm going to hide, so I tuck back a little bit and I hide. And I fall back asleep, 2 a.m. I have ran out of my party supplies for the night. At 3 a.m, I remember laying, so I'm asleep, but I kind of wake up and I hear rustling and some like sniffing. I get up, it's 3 coyotes that were just smelling me.
Oh, shut up.
And again, God used these animals to wake me up. If somebody told me later on, well, you could have got hypothermia out there.
Oh, yeah.
So I could have probably not even woke up from that moment.
Yep.
So I popped up, like, trying to be a tough guy, like, oh, what's up, partner, let's go. And it was 3 dogs, and I'm freaking scared. I run off with no shoes. I run back to the cabin, and everybody's sound asleep. Now I know, my wife just believed I would have came back, not thinking he needs help, because she didn't know. So nobody went looking for me, but it was because they thought I would have came back. I came back, and they're all sound asleep. I'm super mad. I'm throwing a tantrum. So first thing I do is I grab all my stuff and I go to the bathroom. I fill up the bathtub. It was a dark time in my life, brother. Go in the bathtub and I take my beers, whatever I have, and I start filling it up. And I have my knife out. Always hard to talk about this, but I'm sitting there and kind of lightly cutting myself.
Oh, yeah.
Contemplating for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All the thoughts that came to this point were, all I'm doing is I'm hurting people. I'm no good here. If I end this now, I could probably save a lot of people of pain. So I'd be better off dead.
So let me ask you a question before you go any further. At this time, do you feel you're a Christian guy?
No, I felt disconnected.
Mm-hmm. Because if your mind was there, no matter what,
I would overclaim that.
You know it too, yeah.
So leading up to that point, there would be times when I was in my garage alone with my using stash and all this, but I would write letters to God. God, help me. God, please help me. Scribbling, God, just help me. I still wanted that deep relationship. I just chose, I had my own will separated us, and I did not have that no more. And because of my sick mind, the disease, I was so into gratification that I couldn't wait. I had no faith. I had no faith
because the party favors are instant, man.
Instant. It takes away your the true joy of life. So I had no instant relief. So of course I just kept doing what I thought I knew, what I knew. So up to that point, yes, I'm in that bathtub and I'm hitting myself, just playing with it. And my thought was, I was going to go to strike it. Right before I strike it, a thought of my daughter coming in and seeing me the next morning stopped me from striking it. I was like, who? And then it just came to me and I just kind of just laid back. And in my jump in tears, I'm crying and I'm like,
everybody's still asleep, bro.
Everybody's still sound asleep. Because they're normies. They're sound, they're sound minds.
Yeah,
they're okay. So I'm
gonna steal that, bro. You know what you just said? Normies.
So we call them on this side of recovery. They're normies. People that can do things responsibly. But they were still asleep, and I didn't do it. I bailed on the suicide attempt. Go back to the room, and I said this in the last podcast I was on from our recovery center, but everything was different that next day, and not a good different. It was dark. I couldn't.
Well, you look at it this way too. Is like, who's still trying to get a stronghold? Yeah, Satan.
Satan definitely had a stronghold on.
And it was like, you're ready to do that night. Yeah. And it's that little cliche, little saying. There's T-shirts out there. There's everything. Not today,
not
Satan.
Today, Satan.
Not today.
This recovery ties in very well. Because one day at a time, and not today, Satan, for sure.
And also too is like, you're back when I was in the SEAL team. There's the SEAL team shirts that people would be buying all the time. The only easy day was yesterday. It's already done.
It's already done.
Right. Every day's a battle. Every day's a warrior mindset. Every day you got to put on that armor.
You suit up.
So you get up out of there. You're hitting the rack. Yeah. I mean, dude, and you're crawling to bed with your wife, just like nothing. I mean, she's asleep.
No, there's a 2-bed, and I lay in the other bed, and she's laying in bed with Leilani.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's with Leilani.
So the next morning she wakes up, and she thinks everything's cool.
Ralph's back. Ralph's back in the room. He's okay.
And you still had 30 days before you went to rehab.
This is, I still had probably 50 days before I reached rehab because I pushed it out, but sick in the head, and I ruined everybody. I ruined everybody's vacation. It wasn't a good time because of that, causing fights, stirring up things, making up lies, whatever the case may be. But now fast forward to that point, I was sick and tired. So when I'm in that backyard crying, glad I got caught, I meant it.
Yeah.
Something we talk about in recovery is the gift of desperation. Thank God for that gift of desperation. I just wanted nothing but change at this point. And so it was in San Diego, and I didn't want to cause. I've already had my family hostage long enough, right? So I don't want to have them drive me to San Diego. So I asked my wife, and she worked it out where we got a plane ticket out 6 a.m. I missed the flight that day. My wife had to go. So my wife and daughter did take me to the airport, and we said our sweet goodbyes.
Yeah.
And then I get there, and my flight's missed, of course, right? What else? Yeah. But
well, and also too, let's go back to it again. Right now on this earth, it's freaking drama. It's a freaking battle every day, bro. Who's, and I don't know.
What's holding me back?
This is just me too. Like, this is my mindset. Yeah. This is the way I think. It's like when those things go on, I go back to this. No, you ain't gonna get a hold of me.
Spiritual warfare.
Yeah, bro.
It's real.
It's real.
And something was trying to hold me back from getting well, right?
You missed a flight. Come on.
I was just talking to my sponsee about it. I said, when you start having these spiritual attacks, that means you are now a threat to the enemy. Because there's a reason.
Dude, right now we got 2 years. Dude, that armor that you're wearing every day, bro, it's brushed. It's shining. It's silver. It
gets some arrows and it gets knocked off the next day.
Yeah, man. For sure. Just knock that out, and just put it back together. So you get down to San Diego.
Well, missed the flight, come home, and Ralphie's disease isn't over. So I had one last hurrah. My cousin comes, picks me up, and he takes me on my flight away to San Diego. So I'm loaded. Their driver picks me up. I'm in San Diego.
Wait, bro, you're loaded when you show up?
Yeah.
Nice.
Drunk, used, and smoked out. But mind you, sick and tired, so it wasn't fun no more. This is just to maintain life.
But also, too, is you just went through that saloon door. That's, you went from outside to inside. Yeah. And it's like you walked in the saloon already hammered. But then when you left, you swung back out the door a whole new man.
Wow, I didn't think about that. That's a good way to put it. I did. Yeah. Came in there loaded, and again, staff there, counselors, therapists, they were amazing. Counselor Palmer. One of the nurses, the charge nurse said, what do you need? I said, I just want to eat and sleep. I haven't had it. I haven't been able to eat because of drugs, and I haven't been able to sleep because of drugs. I just want that. They gave me I have a picture of it on my phone. Huge plate of spaghetti, meatballs, green beans. I ate that.
It's probably horsed that down, bro.
Oh, I didn't even breathe. I didn't even taste it. I just needed some in my body, a nutrient.
Dude, how long did you crash for?
I went there. I got there about, let's see, 6, 9, 12. I got there about 12.
In the afternoon or midnight?
Afternoon. 12 in the afternoon.
And then you just crash?
I was asleep till 5. So I go to the room and I fall asleep. And this is now when it's coming to, I fall asleep and I wake up. Because mind you, I haven't had sleep. So it's kind of a sound sleep. I wake up 2 o'clock, just looking at me, 5 o'clock, and it hits me. I'm away from my family. I can't use drugs or drink, and I can't smoke. Like, what do I do now? I don't know who I am. So I'm like, what do I do? I wake up crying, or I'm crying because all these things. And the biggest thing is this, away from my family. I love my family so much. And just being away from them, I've never been away from them that long. So I knew what I wasn't prepared, getting into versus being home. 30 days away was hard. Hits me. One of the staff members there, her name's Genevieve, she broke kind of protocol. She said, hey, because there's a blackout period. You can't talk to nobody. Yeah. She allowed me to call my family, and that got me through the next day, for sure. Talking to my family. My wife didn't want to talk to me for a while. She was still a little hurt and upset, but I got to talk to my daughters. And it was good to hear the calmness in their voice, knowing their dad's in a safe place now. Yeah. And that gave me a little peace for the next day. 30 days there. In that meantime, I made some great friends. They voted me in this thing called cost commissioner, where you're kind of a voice for the people. And I was just this guy out there just talking to people, what do we need to make this experience better for ourselves? It was an amazing time. Amazing. It built me back up for sure.
So you got out of there around August.
August 27th.
Of 21.
Of 21. 8/27/21 is my checkout date there.
Yeah.
I wasted no time, because something I learned about this disease is it doesn't sleep. And I say this, and you hear in recovery, is my disease right now is doing push-ups. If you will, he's at the gym and he's at the gun range because he wants to kill me. Mm-hmm. He's out to kill me every day. And it could be the enemy. It's the same thing. They're out to kill me. So yeah, I have to make sure I strap up Warriors Mindset every day for that. But I know how the disease, because I've learned a little bit there, how it goes. And when I got back, I wanted to waste no time with, it's called the outpatient program after. So you do a PHP, so you do your rehab time, then you do your PHP in place program, and then you do an outpatient. Right. If you're from San Diego, they had theirs, but I had to find one
up here.
Yeah. And shout out Kevin, heavy Kevy D from Casa. He helped me find a great place called Touchstone. That's where I found Touchstone Recovery Center, where I do work now. It's amazing. Yeah. So I wasted no time. I land in Fresno about 7 a.m. My wife picks me up. I get home. We spend some time together, catch up a little bit. And I got to surprise my daughters from school. So I hid in their bed. I recorded it. I have a recording. And I could always show you sometime. I'll show you later on, Doctor. Surprise the crap out of them. They come home and they scream and cry, Dad. They see me and we're all crying. And, in that time we had these things. I made a few handshakes with them. Yeah. How did you say, new heart, fresh start? We're starting fresh. And my daughter, that love for my daughters was it for me. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm going to do it. Because mind you, everybody says do it for yourself, and it's true. Mm-hmm. But there's 365 days in a year. And I need to have a reason every day. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's my wife today. Maybe it's you today, Dr. Joe. I have a reason for every day of my life why I'm still doing this.
Oh, definitely.
And that's how it keeps me going too.
Well, look at this. Even with this podcast, we got this Warrior Mindset podcast that I'm trying to build along the way. And just think of the stories that are going to come out of the people I talk to. There's a reason that we're here today. There's a reason why I kind of started this little podcast. Is like. We're regular, normal people. People think it's the Hollywood people. People think it's the governor people, the senators, the whatever the case may be. It's the everyday people like you and I that basically are the mortar between the bricks. You know what I mean? And if we can, get to somebody else to where, we talked about suicide, we talked about drugs, we talked about alcohol, we talked about, harder drugs and cocaine, we talked about rehabilitation and things like that. If we can reach somebody, just one. All it has to be is one, and we've done our job. And, you're coming today and kind of explaining this to a lot of our audience. And, you're going to be able to reach some people that you may not have. And also, too, is the more you talk about this on a daily basis, the better you become. Yes. As an individual. Because if you don't, sometimes you can revert back. Well, every day is, like you said, every day is a struggle.
Yeah. So, of course we suffer, those in recovery suffer from the short-term memory, so we forget. But
good point.
A good reminder is how bad was that pain? That pain was hard. So I try not to forget. And this is why we do meetings. We have a sponsor. I work in recovery because of that. I don't want to ever forget how ugly those times were.
How many days a week are you doing over there?
Over there I work 2 to 3 days. I facilitate groups and I train them. I'm also their health coach. Yeah. And then I also do my personal training on the side still. Yeah. So when I got back, I hit the floor running. I went right into my outpatient program.
Have you ever thought about going back to school for yourself? Like in that industry?
I am. I'm RAT-T certified, and I have to have continued education for it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually doing that now because I'm a drug and alcohol counselor now.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, God used the pain for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
There's a purpose behind that. And something I like, and I break it down to myself, all the disciples were in recovery.
Oh my God. If you really sit down with each one of those and you really go through it, you're like, oh my God.
Each of them come from a past,
murderers.
right? Some of them have a past and they're in recovery because of the grace of God. And it's a good boat to be in. I'd rather be in that boat for sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hit that outpatient program hard. And in that meantime, I met amazing people again. Nolan, Lewis, Yannick, Jay, Alan. These were like the people that were there when I came in, our counselors. Mm-hmm. I love them to death. And lo and behold, they gave me an opportunity to go there, and I now work there. Drug and alcohol counselor, health coach also. Mm-hmm. Facilitate there and stuff. So,
well, we talk about it all the time, and you and I have been in the same industry, just working with people all the time. You talk about, the temple of God. Our body is a temple. You know what I mean? And anytime you get people that are going to recover from drugs and alcohol, the body has to be cleaned and healed and kind of rebooted, if you will. Absolutely. So you already have that type of background from playing sports all your life. That health concept is probably pretty easy for you. You know what I mean?
I would love to say it was, but there was a lot of the mental block of I'll never be what I was. A lot of self-doubt.
Yeah, well, I'll just here to tell you, you'll be fine, bro.
I appreciate that, brother. One thing I noticed though, as every month passed or 2 months passed, I would gain 10 pounds. So now I'm back at 195.
Yeah.
Worked my way back to.
What was it? So people remember that on this podcast, 55. It was 55, 155.
I was 150.
Dude, 155.
195 pounds.
You're just like out of freaking concentration camp.
Sick. I was sick. Not just
like they say gaunt. You're drawn in and stuff.
I'll show you those pictures too. It's pretty disgusting. You wouldn't even recognize me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the darkest time, and I'll never want to go back there. So there's a daily practice I have every day. Mm-hmm. I wake up, I say my prayer, and I'm grateful to have this day. I send out a gratitude list to all my brothers in recovery. I say the Serenity Prayer. And I have, there's things I do in order to keep me where I'm at right now.
Also, too, is tell people all the time, people ask me, and you've known me for a long time, is man, Doc, why are you always such a good mood? People don't really see me in a bad mood. Right. Because you have a choice. Yeah. You have a choice. You can be either a good mood or a bad mood. There's no gray because you go, well, I'm feeling okay. No, then you're not in a good mood. You've got to be in a good mood every day. Now, do I wake up kind of feeling grumpy and whatever, but then I just, wash my face, look in the mirror and go, yo, bro, listen, you're lucky that you're on this earth right now. I've been given a job. I think the podcast is something that's a calling for me, but I've been a chiropractor. Guess what I get to do every day on people?
Lay with your hands.
Bro, I used to think to myself, oh man, these guys are all these Bible beaters, this and that, these big, great Christian guys. And I'm like, I've been a good guy my whole life. I didn't realize it till later on. I'm like, dude, God gifted you with hands. I am a conduit, through him. I don't heal. Right. Patients, patients get healed through me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So everybody has that calling. But also too is I tell myself I have a good day every day, even though there may be some things going on, but I'm on the sunny side of the dirt. God has gifted us with gifts. Right. Also too is you're a guy, I'm one of those military guys, never had a tattoo in my life, but I swear to God, I've talked to this on the podcast a couple of times. And Ralphie's got a bunch of tattoos.
A few.
I swear to God, I'm going to get a duck. Right? And people go, a duck? What do you mean a duck? I go, because this is the way life is, right? We should have life like this. On the surface, we go with our kids. We go to Woodward Park, a big park out here. They got the ducks, and we take bread and whatever. We feed the ducks. And they're up on the surface. You see these ducks just cruising, bro. Mm-hmm. They're just chilling, right? Man, how do these guys do it? Because underneath, they're kicking like a motherfucker, right? That's the way life is. On the surface, be happy every day. And then underneath, you're just kicking it all day long. Yeah. That's because you're getting your business done.
You're taking care of business.
You're taking care of business. On the surface, people don't need to know. Be happy, underneath. Now, if you need some counseling, this type of stuff, the camaraderie, where you're sitting with some of the boys, girls get together. I'm not a firm believer in a lot of the guys and girls kind of intermixing and that type of stuff. We don't do that.
We don't do that recovery also.
So especially with, loved ones and spouses and girlfriends,
respect.
The guys don't need to, be, letting out their laundry to another chick.
Definitely not.
Can go the wrong way. So, you get with a bunch of guys, you sit down, you grab some coffee, and you just kind of poof, you just vent. Yeah. But what you're doing is that duck then gets, rebooted, goes back out onto the water. It's just kicking away. You know what I mean? Maybe with a little cigar in his mouth or something like that. A military-looking duck.
That's a perfect tattoo for you, by the way. You have to get that done.
Because it's like you got to just be cool every day. There's stuff going on inside your life, yes, but just, get that exercise, get that endorphin release.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we talk about that all the time. We've known each other a long time. Exercise affects mental fitness.
Definitely does. That's a big role in it. We're big on it. So in recovery, it's mind, body, spirit. Mm-hmm. And I joke with the guys when I'm facilitating with them and I'm taking them on. We go on trips to Woodward Park and we do like ultimate frisbee and we work out too. I train them. But I say, hey, man, let's go get our free high, you guys. Because your body has the same stuff that we chased all our lives. Right. Or most of our lives, a bad portion of it. It's endorphins, the dopamine, all that. It's released when you work out. And the more we do that, so what happens is we have the synapses, or these connections in our brains, right? We're so used to that bad habit, well, when we stop doing it, it severs it. Now, this is the idle time. What are you going to do? It's not just going to be there and cut off. It has to connect somewhere else. So what we're doing every time we're working out or training them, we're reinforcing those things. Yep. To recognize
a new connection.
A new connection. So every time we do these things, we're happier, we're having a better time, we're creating memories. And I was going to say, today I get to have a clear, conscious contact with God and know what I need. So yes, I do talk to like my sponsor or a counselor or a friend or family or a brother of today's troubles. If not troubles, it's my gratitude list, what I'm grateful for. But it's the fellowship. In the big book, it talks about this. Doc and I got to bring this up. It's pretty cool. We're known as a hopeless alcoholic, is what they call us. And mind you, modern medicine's great. You know this, we all know this. But the doctors gave up on alcoholics. On the medical way, they gave up. There's no way.
That's a good point.
And what would happen, what they started seeing, and his name was Bill W. and Dr. Bob, they came to find that there's these few steps and principles in recovery that you could do. And the answer to all what it is isn't medicine, it's spiritual fellowship. That's the healing power. It's the fellowship of the community. So what I took from it was, it's only by God's grace that we can be together and actually heal, because there's no modern medicine that can heal an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Back to God.
But you go back to that herd mentality.
The herd mentality.
You get that herd, you get that together, and then there's some sort of a semblance of safety.
Yes.
That's why, any predator is going to try and separate from the herd. Yeah. But the stronger the herd is, the less chance of any type of predator. We talk about it on earth, which is Satan. Yeah. Right? And we have that. So if we have that herd mentality and you get the guys together, girls amongst themselves too, and heck, you could, tell your guys too, is like, you go out here, if anybody know, we're at Fresno, at Woodward Park is where he sends these guys. This is 1/4 mile hill.
You could do that, and
I tell you what, you do that a couple of times, you're going home to bed.
Yeah, you'll find God real quick and go to bed.
Yeah, that endorphin release, you don't need any other stimulant in your body. No. You just want to take a cold shower and go to bed.
That's it.
But those are those things we talk about, right? That mind, body, spirit. You know what I mean?
And that's biblical, what you said. 1 quart is easily broken, but a quarter, 2 or 3 is hard to break, right? The more you have with you, you're going to be a little bit better. And I love what AA teaches us, and it's right back into the Bible, where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, Jesus is there, right? And the same thing goes as the book, because these, mind you, when people come into these rooms, they're broken, the most broken, and some of them either hate God, don't believe in God, or just they're agnostic. When you see somebody come to in recovery and start believing in God, that's the biggest miracle I've seen. And start becoming believers, that's a miracle. Miracles happen every day in the AA rooms, there's no doubt, and recovery in general. Yep. And it's amazing to see. And I love I'm grateful to say I'm a part of that. I am grateful to say I'm a part of that, for sure.
That's crazy.
And that's where I think, I have to say this, there's a purpose for everybody, their calling. I think this is it for me, where I can actually reach that one, maybe that next person touches 5 and 10, to bring that story. I like to use the word hope and break it down to HOPE, which is hearing other people's experiences. That's what brings us together and helps us get through. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because, everybody does have a different calling, and some people get upset when they go, well, I don't have the same enthusiasm to get out there and Bible beat on a soapbox. It may not be it. I learned that a long time ago when I was trying to figure out, man, all these people, being saved and this and that, and they received Jesus Christ in their life. And I'm like, I've been a good guy. I was the Catholic guy. I even served Mass. You know what I mean? And it's like, I've been a good dude. Well, what happens is God's like, hey, you've been doing this for 30 years, been working on patients all day long. Hello? Until I finally realized, a funny story I've told before, but I don't think you've been privy to it, but right around when our good buddy Joey passed away, that was the same time that I had a stroke.
That is the same
And I
time.
had heart surgery, because of a military injury when I was stabbed in the military, long story short. But when I came back, and you haven't heard the story, but I've said it a couple of times here, is where I figured out my calling, because I was always upset. It's like, man, why am I not? I'm a good guy. How come God isn't knocking on my door and say, hey, Joe, what's up? How's your day going? Hey, have a great day. Where people actually get that. Like, I swear to God, people see God.
A presence.
You know what I mean? I have it. But then this lady came in, and I was supposed to take a week off of work, right? And the doctor says, hey, listen, take a rest. I'm like, we're same person, same cloth, man. I'm not going to take time. I got to go.
Rest
I got to fix people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I came in, there was one older lady, and literally, I swear to you, the older lady, she goes, listen, I've got a referral in from you. I hear you can fix me. I'm like, gosh, damn, okay, fix you. Ooh, okay. She goes, I'm ready to commit suicide. She goes, my back is killing me so much, elderly lady, and I hear you can fix me. I go, well, ma'am, I'm going to try the best I can. Thank you very much. I'm very, humble on the fact that you think I can do this. I'm going to do the best I can.
Right.
So I do what I normally do, work on the lady, this and that, get her back adjusted. She comes off the table. She goes, I'm healed. I'm like thinking in my head, eyebrows go up and everything like that. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you say to yourself, okay. No, she goes, I swear to God, I feel perfect. You fix me. I feel like $1 million. I goes, well, that's great, and listen, let's make an appointment to come on back. Never saw her again. Never saw her again.
What does it say in the Bible? Treat others people very kindly because you may be serving an angel.
Right.
Or something like that.
So
I'm not taking verbatim, but
no, it's definitely. So then I thought to myself, imagine if I took the doctor's advice and didn't work. Could that lady not be here today?
Could you be where you're at today too?
Could I be where I'm at? Because then I really realized to myself is like, oh, dummy. It's right in front of your face. He doesn't have to knock on the door and go, hey, Joe, how's your day going?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's through some lady that came in that was, and you could see it on her face. Ralphie, man, she was distraught. She was like, you're my last ditch effort. Medication, doesn't want to do surgery, whatever the case may be. And she left, she said, skipping. I'm like, okay, is this a plant? Thinking to myself. But it was like, that's when I finally realized to myself.
There it is.
You know what I mean? That, oh my God, all these years. And it's like, it was right in front of your face. You know what I mean?
God was very, very present in what's going on with you, and he had somebody show up.
Yeah.
He uses people right every day for to better us, or if not to grow from some sort for some form.
Yeah.
It's we say something recovery, contrary action. This is what helps get us ourselves. We want to stay out the way. Mm-hmm. What it sounds like to me was like you did something that contrary action. You came, even though and this may be your safe haven where you help, but that day,
100%.
And for sure, right? That's what it is. And that day, higher power, God was in control.
100%. But hey, listen. Well, we've been. Bro, we've been at this for a while. We could go on forever. I
could. I told him to. I don't know what to say, and then I'm like, I got a lot to say.
Oh no, and we're gonna maybe cut this up. We have you back, and then maybe when Jason's here too, we'll just talk about some stuff because you and he could talk about some other things along the way. But I'd like to thank.
Can I add something real quick?
Bro,
hold on, I got to do this real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay, so life is going really well today.
Yes.
I work with Touchstone Recovery Center. Shout out to them.
Yep.
I do my personal training.
Yep.
So miracles have happened, but I will be opening my own gym soon. I just got my LLC. So
good.
It's called Apex Training Camp.
That's right.
We're in, me and my business partner are in cahoots looking for a location right now. So we're in the search of location. Dr. Joe, you already know.
Anybody out there? You got some space you need to rent?
Yeah, there you go. But I just want to make sure I throw that out there, kind of promote it because that's what's happening in my life. And the biggest thing is this: it is going to be, of course, training for aesthetics and athletics, but also recovery based.
Yes.
A lot of gyms out here have some recovery centers going there. My gym is going to be offered for the recovery center people, and we will have meetings there because at the end of the day, I want to have a purpose here on earth, and that's what I feel like I'm called to do is maybe try to help out the next person that's struggling in some way.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. I had to throw it out there before
awesome.
This is over.
No. Hey, listen, we'll get you back on here more for that. And,
appreciate that. Thank you, Doc.
Promote that because it's a big thing for me. To see you succeed and all that type of stuff. So let's go look for his place coming up soon, Apex. And I'm so proud of you with the recovery stuff. I mean, keep doing that. I think that's your calling to where you're like, oh man, this just makes sense to me.
Thank you.
And your beautiful wife and your kids. Those are that foundation that you say. There's that the mortar in between the bricks of your life going on. These guys are kind of interfusing between all that all the time.
That's it.
You know what I mean? And keep those guys close too.
Thank you.
But without finishing up here, this is Dr. Joe Martin with the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Ralphie, love having you here. Another little, handshake, bro.
Thank you, Doc,
and,
for having me, brother.
We wish you the best of luck. I know you don't really need that, because God definitely protects you and your family. And hopefully we'll see you real soon. And with that being said, Dr. Joe Martin with the Warrior Mindset, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.